Oh, hi! Welcome to the Museum of Portable Sound. I'm the Director and Chief Curator. Have a seat. Thanks for coming to meet me, by the way, in this public cafe. Yes, I know. It's a bit strange to ask you to come meet me here to listen to a museum on my phone. But, as we like to say, it's not an app, it's an experience. Here's a map. Here's our gallery guidebook, which has all the information that you would normally see on the walls in a regular museum. And here's the mobile phone with all the sounds on it. Did you remember to bring headphones? What? No, trust me. We've been doing this for 5 years now. We'll never put this museum online. My name is John Cannonberg. I had an accident and I woke up in 2020 in the middle of a pandemic. Am I mad, in a coma, or on my way to Durham to get my eyes checked? Whatever's happened, it's like I've landed on a different planet. Now maybe if I can figure out how Zoom works, I can open my museum again. So I opened the Museum of Portable Sound in 2015, and it's full of sounds that I've recorded myself over the past 2 decades. They're divided up into 30 galleries within 4 main topical areas that are based on typical ways that museums tend to categorize the world. I used to make people visit the museum in person to kind of force them to make an appointment to really listen, which wouldn't happen if the museum were just an app or on a website. After the lockdown began, I had a bit of an existential panic when I realized I'd either have to close my museum indefinitely or come up with a way for people to visit it without compromising my vow to never distribute the museum's sounds as digital files on the internet. And then it hit me. I could play the sounds for my visitors over video chat. In-person visits to the Museum of Portable Sound always worked best when they were a conversation between me and the visitor. So I pared down the museum's 300-page gallery guide into a new online visitor's guide, which contains lists of all the museum's objects. I send it as a PDF to online visitors once they've booked their time slot, and this way they know the entire contents of the museum in advance, so it's a bit more of a two-way street. They ask me for stuff that they'd like to hear, and then I make recommendations based on what they're interested in or how the conversation's going. So far, visits are fairly steady and they're going pretty well. I've had online visitors from Brazil, Finland, Sweden, Canada, and lots of people from the United States. We still have great conversations just like I used to in person, and I'm learning a whole new way to make my museum accessible to new audiences. I also looked around at what people were saying across social media about coping mechanisms for lockdown, and it seemed like free audiobooks were in high demand. So I made an audiobook of The How and Why Wonder Book of Sound, a 1960s children's book about the science behind acoustics and audio recording. It's been downloaded over 40 times so far, and half those people have paid for it. We also just published the Museum of Portable Sound Adult Coloring In book, which uses public domain patent drawings to tell a brief history of portable sound technology. Last month, we opened a new temporary exhibition for the summer, The 5 Most Annoying Sounds in the World, which I've tried to market as an endurance test. The whole show is only 5 minutes, but it's the longest 5 minutes of your life. So if you're interested in it at all, check out our website and maybe even book your own visit. I want to thank Rachel for the opportunity to talk to you today, and I hope you found this inspiring or useful in some way. And feel free to get in touch if you've got any questions. I'd love to talk to you.
Next up here on Museums Showoff, something infinitely more professional and serious than that video was. Then, at 10 o'clock, it's a tour of Barnard Castle with Dominic Cummings.